the rainbow bridge of Asgard, where the booming heavens roar. You'll behold in breathless wonder the god of thunder, mighty Thor.
So this is the sequel to Thor Ragnarok, once again directed by Taika Waititi, who co-wrote the script with Jennifer Caton Robinson. It opens with a scene of Christian Bale,
him,
Gore, losing his daughter in the desert, then finding himself in what appears to be an outtake from the Flower Pot Men, or In the Night Garden, in which he falls out with his god and declares, "This is my vow, all gods will die." Therefore, he becomes the God Butcher.
Called the God Butcher, which, to be honest, if you were offered that as a role, you go, yep, okay, that sounds good.
That. We then cut to Korg humorously retelling Thor's story so far. You know, lots of sort of semi-literate in-jokes about he lost his brother again and then again. And then enjoying a classic Thor adventure in which he accidentally destroys a temple in a sequence that looks like a very badly CG-rendered version of a heavy metal video with some Muppets. The main thing is he is still pining for Jane, a character we all forgot about some time ago, who's now battling against stage 4 cancer, but who, thanks to a convoluted plot twist inspired by Jason Aaron's Mighty Thor strips, finds herself united with Thor's reconstructed hammer, which is sworn to protect her and which reconstructs itself in her presence, thereby turning her into Mighty Thor, who's a female version of Thor. You've seen the film, tell me if this is wrong.
Yeah.
A female version of Thor, whilst Thor, played by Chris Hemsworth, misses both her and the hammer, who is with her,
yes,
but has now been replaced by his axe, Stormbreaker.
Although the city seems to be humming along as usual, the mighty Thor is troubled.
I sense an aura of evil over the city. I feel it lurking, ready to pounce. I cannot pinpoint its presence, but wherever it strikes, Thor shall be ready.
Far below, in a shadowy alley.
You would not be so confident, Thunder God, if you knew your archenemy Loki was on Earth once more. No earthling must suspect the identity of the God of Evil. So, I shall appear as an earthbound mortal. Once again, I shall use others to help me vanquish the accursed Thor.
First off, a lot of people have said that this movie is somehow terrible. This movie isn't terrible. It's also not great. It's not a good movie, but it's not a bad movie. As soon as the film opens up and we're introduced to Thor, after we've introduced to the main antagonist, the God Butcher, the Christian Bale character, one of the first things we see is Thor's mother carrying Thor as a child on her breast while going into war. And that sets the tone. When I noticed that set the tone for me for the rest of the movie, because I was thinking to myself, oh, there's no way I can actually just take the rest of this movie seriously. I mean, I thought to myself, well, maybe I'm nitpicking, but this woman going into battle with a fucking child on her breast, like to like some kind of nurse, but like it didn't make sense. And I thought to myself, well, this movie is just going to be silly. But then they go on later in the movie, still in the first third of the movie, they introduce the Jane Foster has cancer subplot, and you think to yourself, well, this movie's already been so silly up to this point. How are they going to balance these two super serious tone and another super silly tone? One of cancer, then the other one of just basically how Thor, Chris Hemsworth, is just basically a mentally handicapped child. And that's what the new Thor is and has been since, I don't know, I think it was the second Avengers movie and Thor Ragnarok, where Thor has just been mentally incapable of tying his own shoes. And remember, originally in the first Thor movie by Kenneth Branagh, the whole place that Thor got his comedy from wasn't from being stupid. The place where he got his comedy from was that he was a fish out of water.
Father!
He's fine, look at him.
I'm down! I know you can hear me. Open the Bifrost!
Hospital, you go. I'll stay.
You. What realm is this? Alfheim? Dornheim?
New Mexico?
You dare threaten me, Thor, with so puny a weapon?
What? He was freaking me out.
That was where the comedy was all coming from. The fish out of water comedy. But now, ever since Ragnarok, Thor's actually just a retard.
About what?
You're serious? You don't know? Everybody knows you never go full retard.
What do you mean?
Check it out. Dustin Hoffman, Rain Man, look retarded, act retarded, not retarded. Count two picks, cheated cards. Autistic, sure, not retarded. You got Tom Hanks, Forrest Gump. Slow, yes, retarded maybe, braces on his legs, but he charmed the pants off next to him and he won a ping pong competition. That ain't retarded. He was a goddamn war hero. Right. You know any retarded war heroes? You went full retard, man. Never go full retard. You don't buy that? Ask Sean Penn, 2001, I Am Sam. Remember? Went full retard. Went home empty-handed.
I just don't think Phase 4 of Marvel has any kind of clear sense of direction. A lot of the movies that they've released recently in this new phase have been okay, and not terrible, but okay. With Multiverse of Madness, it was good, it was okay, and same thing goes with this movie. There are some things that are enjoyable and some things that are just dumb, but I think it's a problematic movie. I think it's too silly to take seriously, and they introduce very serious plot points. But the thing is that if Thor just acts like a mentally handicapped man-child the entire time, which was his original story arc in the first movie, then it's difficult to just take the movie seriously, in my opinion. I don't know how you can really take it seriously when in the climax of the movie you have Thor entrusting his superpowers in a bunch of 6 to 12-year-old child soldiers in the climax of the film, where a bunch of kids are teaming up with Thor to fight the big bad guy, the Batman.